Thank you and welcome to the show this morning. The topic this morning is the Metropolitan Times, and we're fortunate to have with us the publisher of the Metropolitan Times, Mr. Sam Latham. And Mr. Latham, let me welcome you to the show this morning.
It's indeed my pleasure, Dr. Haney, and thank you for inviting me.
You know, what we try to do, Mr. Latham, is to have what we call an executive profile, giving our audience an opportunity to meet some of the executives in the community. And I think it's only appropriate to have you as an executive profile, especially dealing with your newspaper, the Metropolitan Times. Let's talk about the Metropolitan Times today as part of your executive profile today, and to have you to start off by giving us some information about your background, your education, and some of the things that were important in your life and eventually leading you to the publication of the Metropolitan Times.
Dr. Haney, I would have to go back to early childhood in terms of the time I got interested in publishing and in newspapers. When I was small, I don't know when I first began reading, but I can't ever remember not reading. And started out with the Sunday paper, I guess as most people do, and it was something that we looked forward to, include the comics and the whole works. And we would always have a copy of Post and Life magazine, and so I really became enthralled in what was going on in the world. Then, when I became a teenager, I guess early on in middle school, I started selling the African-American newspaper and the old paper out of Baltimore, and also the Chicago Defender. And it was then, we're talking about late 50s, the only contact that we had to Black America. And I was really, I really looked forward to reading about Oscar Robertson, what was going on in various colleges, black colleges and that sort of thing. Being raised in East Tennessee, in a small area that was only about 8% black. So this really whetted my appetite. And I was fortunate in high school to have gone to a school that was, although segregated, small, separate and unequal, we had teachers who cared, and those people who had potential, you were pretty much set on a separate track. So English composition was really stressed, and found out that I had a pretty good background in writing when I got to college. Went to Tennessee State University and majored in biology, but I remember as a freshman, they had a contest. Mrs. Dozier, one of the English teachers then, had a contest for all freshmen to enter on short stories, and I won. So little did I know that that would end up being my career, but little by little, I think all those things counted. Then, after becoming an adult, after graduating from Tennessee State in biology, I taught school at Cameron High School for a short while, and then from there, I had the opportunity to get into management. In 1971, there was a company out of New York recruiting minorities to go into the management training program, and so I got into it, and they sent me to graduate school in business, where I concentrated on marketing. So eventually that love of marketing and love of writing, there was a marriage, and I got my first opportunity in 1975 to go to work for a community newspaper called the Ebony Gazette, and became assistant to the publisher. So that was a great experience. And from there, I went into doing some agency work, independent marketing, then worked in radio. And in 1979, I was just convicted, I think, to start my own newspaper. So started laying the groundwork for what is now Metropolitan Times.
In 1979, so
yes.
You've been involved with the publication of Metropolitan Times for quite a number of years.